real quick. I wanna talk real quick to y'all. Uh, just had somebody um, and this ain't a addressing video at all. It's just a reality check of people's mental capacity of lack thereof. I just got into this debate with somebody that thinks. Let me tell you how they put it. They said, "I am where I am in life because I did." Hey, Renaissance Grandma, I'm gonna get right into it because I want to get this. I want to get this out. Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome in, Guava. Love you. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it so we can talk about some reality check, real, real grinding here. Hey, welcome everybody coming in. I'm saying hello to everybody. This I need to get this off my chest. Somebody, I just got into a whole confrontation with somebody, not a confrontation, but a discussion with somebody, and I could not make them make this make sense. But and I said, you know what, that's what's wrong with a lot of us. But let me get into it. Um, the person was trying to tell me that I am where I am in life because I made so much money in my life. And I was trying to tell them it ain't about how much money you make. It's about what you do with it. I'm gonna get this right out in the open. I got my grill going too, so y'all gonna see some smoke. That's how short this video gonna be. Kept saying, well, you made all this money, you worked at this job, that job, this job, this job, that job. And I said, so what? That don't mean anything. And let me get something straight to everybody, just in case they don't understand how this works. Especially if I got any young viewers right now, I hope I got young viewers. As a matter of fact, if I got any OGs with kids and nephews and nieces, they can hear this too. It ain't about how much money you make. It's about what you do with it. Everybody is always in your pocket counting the dollars, but they ain't counting the cents. When I say cents, I'm not talking about the coins, I'm talking about the cents. They count your dollars, but they don't count the cents. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me explain it to you. Okay, in my life, I have had great jobs. Most of my life, I've always had a really good job, right? I've always made really good money or whatever. But that don't mean by the time like now I'm 53 years old, I should be sitting on like $1 million. And they are sitting here going back and forth. Well, you can do that. You can buy land. You can do all this. You can buy solar panels, blah, 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 because you got it like that. And I said, that ain't how this works. Just because you've made good money don't mean that you wasn't tricking off your money. See, for instance, and I tried to give them this example, but they just would not hear it. Why on God's green earth is there entertainers, rappers, actors, actresses, NBA players, football players broke? I mean broke. I'm talking about some. You will see them down at the damn food stamp office, and they ashamed. And you catch them on TMZ sitting on a bus stop sucking on a lollipop, and then TMZ will be like, man, what they must be having it bad. They must be having it rough. No, it ain't about that. Once upon a time, these entertainers, whatever their genre, made millions and millions of dollars, right? Okay, so if you make millions and millions of dollars, you ain't going to purchase no toy. I need to watch my mouth. You ain't going to the doggone Carvana and purchase no used ass Toyota Corolla. If you sitting here making millions upon millions of dollars every season, you know what's going to happen? You're going to think that that money is going to always be coming in. You're going to think that that money always going to be rolling in millions of dollars for the rest of your life. You never even think about it. You never do anything. So what do? You don't go buy a Toyota Corolla. You don't go buy a Chevy Impala. You go buy a Mercedes Benz. You go buy a Range Rover. You go buy a G Wagon. When you got $1 million, you need to step out fresh. You need to go get your grill tuned up. You need to go get you now. You going to the dentist every 5 minutes, getting your grill tuned up, and now you got gold chains and diamonds around your neck, diamonds on your wrist, because you think you're gonna always have $1 million. So my point is this: you can have all the money in the world, but if you trick off your money, meaning if you sit here and take all your money that you make and you go spend it on God only knows what, from strippers to cars, clothes, jewelry, everything to go stunt, what you gonna be? Your ass gonna be broke. It ain't about how much money you make, it's about what you do with it. And I kept trying to tell this fool that. Like, I've been making good money all my life, but that don't mean I should have $1 million put in the bank. But I don't. Why? Because I was stunting. I was stupid. I was young. I was immature. And I was stunting. I did what the rest of America do. I was buying cars, clothes, jewelry. I was going on exotic trips, taking my wife and my children around the country and doing all constantly traveling. See, what I ended up learning was I'm spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on experiences. Now, I'm not saying those experiences aren't weren't worth it, because they were. But what I'm saying is it didn't solidify anything. So what I've tried to tell him was it's about, for instance, I worked out of all these years. I worked at the post office. I was a truck driver. I worked in the automotive industry and I made top dollar with every job I had. I've been supervisors, I've been managers, and every job I've ever had, I've always made good money. Why am I broke? See, they keep thinking I'm using all the money for the last 30, 40 years to accomplish the stuff I'm accomplishing. And that ain't it. See, I'm just getting older and wiser and starting to realize when your health starts failing and your body don't move the way it moved no more, you can't just go up and do any old kind of job. You start thinking, I need to make my life a little easier. And buying brand new cars every year ain't doing it. Buying brand new clothes and jewelry and traveling around the country for fun ain't cutting it. So what do? You start to think, how can I make my money make money? How can I start making money work for me instead of me work for the money? So what I found out was, if you ain't stunting, if you ain't buying cars, jewelry, clothes, traveling, and all that other bullshit, what ends up happening is now you can focus on saving money. Now you can focus on investing money. And and I'm here to tell everybody that's looking for land and everything else, I'm here to tell you this how this works. It's not that you need to be on a job for 30 years before you can accomplish anything. And I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a real true story. When me and my wife was trying to find our very first home, we were denied by several banks, right? We had good credit, basically no credit, right? Back in the late 80s, early 90s, we were denied loans for our very first home. I had a job that I had been on, and back then I made $18 an hour, which was, in those days, I know it's a joke now, but $18 an hour in 1992, I was rich. Okay? So making $18 an hour in 1992, and no bank would approve me for a loan so I could purchase my first house. There was this couple sitting right next to us. Me and my wife had been married for a while. This younger couple, younger than us, both of them were managers at Wendy's. We had a conversation with them. That's why I'm telling you. Both of them were managers at Wendy's restaurant. They were approved. Now we can't even play color lines because they were the same color as us. Now we had a lot of advantages on them. We made way more money than they did. We had married, we was married couple. We didn't have no debt, nothing. This couple that was approved for a homeowner's loan, first homeowner, they were not married. They was boyfriend and girlfriend or, fiance. Um, they didn't make that much money at Wendy's. They told us everything. So we knew that we were a shoe in for the loan if they got approved. We found out we ain't approved. So we can't pull the black card because they was black. My point of all this is this. It's not about how much money you make, it's what you do with it. Me making all that money and going to the bank and say, hey, I make all this money. My wife make all this money. The bank, that's okay, that's good and all, but what have you done with it? When you go to the bank and you ask the bank, or the bank asks you, what other investments do you have? What do you have for collateral? See, this young couple had collateral. We didn't. This young couple had co-signers. We didn't. This younger couple could make these power moves because they had something that we didn't have. They had backup, they had collateral, they had something to show. Well, we didn't. All we had was money. So we come to the bank talking with money. And that ain't how it always worked. So I'm trying to tell that's the end of that story. The moral of that story is it ain't about how much you make all the time. It's about what you do with your money. If you don't sit here and make small investments in certain things, that's what this world looks at. That's what this world looks at. It looks at what have you been. For instance, let's break this all the way down to something a little bit more hood. Say you at your job. You at your job. And all you've been doing all day is twiddling your thumbs. Where your partner is at the same exact job. And even though nothing was going on, he wasn't twiddling his thumbs. He done swept the floor. He done wiped down the windows. He done reorganized his desk. He done thought of new different ways for security cameras to be placed and how they should work better and how this company can work a lot better and flow a lot better. Who do you think gonna get the promotion? If you sitting around, but you the smartest, that don't mean anything. Because when that boss come and say, what you been doing all this time, you ain't been doing shit. You ain't the one getting the promotion. He want to see this dude been sitting around and he ain't had to be told what to do. He sitting around, cleaned off his desk, reorganized. He done came up with a couple plans that could help the company work better and faster and more efficient. And nobody asked him to do that. So when it comes to money, it worked the same way. And I'm going to break this down even further so you really understand. Out of all these years, I'm 53 years old. Out of all of the doggone, say, 45 years I've been working, shouldn't I have $1 million? If you always at the club, if you always buying cars, if you always buying clothes, if you always stunting and trying to impress people that ain't got nothing either, you ain't gonna have nothing. So it don't matter whether you work at Wendy's or you a CEO or you a A-list actor in Hollywood. If you tricking off your money, you gonna be broke. It don't matter if you made $40 million. It don't matter if you made $4,000. If I've seen people that make way less money and use that little bit of money and invest it in things and surpass their counterparts that make 100 times more money because they're using their heads. And the name of the game is what people do right now is this. You think the more money you got, the more money you have to play with. And I told this guy earlier, see what you would do. He said if he basically told on himself. If I had $1 million, do you think I would be driving a Toyota Camry? I said, you just said it for me, bro. You just said it for me. Of course you freaking wouldn't if you had $1 million be driving no Toyota Camry. You would be driving a G-Wagon. You would be driving a Lexus or a Mercedes Benz or the latest electric car. Because that's the way this country works. We think the more you make, the more you need to spend, and it should be the opposite. If you had $1 million, your ass should stay in that Toyota Camry. But he don't think that way. And I said, that's why you broke right now. That's why you ain't got shit, because your way of thinking is like most people's way of thinking, which is the way that we've been brainwashed to think. You think the more money you got, the more money you should be spending. Well, it took me most of my life to start to figure out that ain't how this works. If you make a come up and you start making more money, extra money, put that away. Just because you got a raise, act like you didn't get a damn raise. Whatever they gave you an extra $2 an hour, put that $2 an hour to the side under your pillowcase. Yeah, it took me a long time to figure this out. But I'm not going to keep on trying to pretend and use excuses of why we ain't making the moves we make. Trying to tell me, well, you where you at because you been making all that money all them years. That ain't no. Cause I ain't no different than no other American here. I tricked off and wasted a lot of money in my day. More money than I care to mention. But it took me in the last 8 years, 6 to 8 years to start to realize I need to invest this money. I haven't made that much money in the last 6 to 8 years versus in the last 30 to 45 years. I haven't made that much money. 30 to 40 years, I haven't made that much money. But that was to prove to him you can accomplish more in a shorter amount of time, making way less money if you move different. If you sit here and take the little bit of money from a half-ass job you got and save it and invest it, you gonna be the winner. But if you make millions of dollars or hundreds of $1,000s a year, but you make $200,000 a year, but you're in a $1 million home and you spending anywhere from damn $5,000 on mortgage every month. You spending half of that on utilities, and then you traveling. You broke. You rich broke or broke rich. You look like you rich, but you broke. And that's the part that everybody don't understand. I was trying to get this sucker to understand, like, look, dude, you're not about to tell me that a person with $1 million is always better off than a person with $50,000. You're not going to tell me that, because I done seen many entertainers that used to be millionaires. You see them too, and TMZ is quick to pull up on their ass, ain't they? TMZ will pull up on them and like, damn, he was sleeping up under a bridge. He made $1 million movies. He made $1 million diamond hit records. I never forget the time when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't make this up. I lived on Peyton Road, Peyton Place Apartments. Lived on Peyton Road, And I seen all these helicopters flying around, right? And they was loud. What those helicopters was, it had to be about 15 of them mugs flying around our apartment complex. Come to find out, I lived maybe 2 miles, if that, away from Peabo. Was it Peabo Bryson? I'm gonna say it was Peabo Bryson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, Peabo Bryson, the R&B legend, and they was getting him for tax evasion, and he was broke. Imagine that. You talking about an R&B legend. We still listening to his songs to this day, Backyard Barbecue. But this man broke. You know why? Because he lived about 2 blocks away from me, 2 miles away from me, in a gated community in a mansion. Dude, you ain't had a hit in like 20, 30 years. But you still trying to freak off your money and show the rest of the world that you still got it because you're a fool. Instead of coming to terms and say, sell off this mansion, go get me a modest house, sell off that house I got in France, sell off that house I got over in New Mexico, sell off my ranch in Texas, sell all this shit off, get me a modest home and start acting like a normal damn tax-paying citizen that can sing good. No, they don't want to let go of that persona. This was a multi-million dollar artist, broke. So it don't matter how much you make if you keep on freaking your money off. Look at all these rappers, man. Look at all these rappers. Broke. They had the diamond teeth, gold chains rolling in your face, your watch and your wrist is lit up, and you got $30,000 on this wrist, 30,000 on this wrist. You got 200,000 around your neck. It only took 10 years for you to be putting up a cardboard sign talking about some real work for food. So if you dumb enough to sit here and think that your money gonna always be there, that's where you screwed up. So my learning lesson was this money ain't gonna always be here. You better start making your money work for you instead of you working for your money. You better start investing your money into things that's going to let you live for free. It's not popular. The things that I'm telling y'all ain't popular. Don't nobody want to live like this. But I don't know nobody shit. Ain't the tax man ain't coming to get me. Ain't no helicopters flying over my land talking about some I owe $4 million in back taxes. Look at Wesley Snipes. Blade. Blade. Wesley Snipes, son. One of the coldest actors out there, one of the greatest action heroes out there. That mug went to prison for tax evasion. Broke. He just now starting to be able to breathe since he been out of jail with a couple of little hit movies he made. Broke. Instead of sitting here and you gotta drive a Phantom, you gotta drive a Lamborghini, you gotta what they always say, man, whipping the foreign. You gotta have a foreign exotic car. Buy your goofy ass a Toyota Corolla or a Toyota Camry and call it a day. If you want to step it up and put your pinky out, go ahead and get a Lexus. It ain't nothing but a fancy Toyota. But you ain't broke the bank trying to stunt. I had to come on here and say that and clear that up for anybody that don't understand your finances. If you don't understand your finances, you're gonna think you're gonna always be making this money. Everybody, look at how many people on YouTube, same thing happened to them. They thought all that money was gonna be just pouring in forever. Soon as I start making YouTube money, I was like, put that away. Put that YouTube money away. Cause this ain't normal. This ain't gonna last forever. So it didn't take me long to start figuring out what my next move was going to be financially. So I started thinking about my health. If my health fails, I can't go to work nowhere. If something was happen to me where I can never, Lord forbid, if I become immobile or something, I can't go to work and make no money and make no living. So stop trying to sit here and keep buying stuff that need payments. Like you gonna always be healthy. Like you ain't gonna ever get sick. So once I start figuring it out, like, do your best to buy everything cash. Do your best to buy something that you can live in where you ain't got no payments, no mortgage, no rent, none of that. Do your best to buy things where you can have electricity without a utility bill. Do something that you can do and have and get a drink of water without paying a water and sewage bill. And that's the way we should all be thinking right now, especially now. So he looking at me like I'm balling because clearly he looking up to me. But I'm trying to tell him it ain't because I had a bunch of money to do this. At all. It was because I realized my future is grim just like the rest of ours. You ain't gonna always be making money. You ain't gonna always be rich. You ain't gonna always be in the best of health. And you need to start preparing for that shit. And I'm not saying invest in a higher insurance policy. I'm not saying that you need to go start getting yourself ready for a nursing home or adult living facility. What I'm telling you is start investing a little bit of money you make into something that you control. Because if you go and invest your money into something you can't control, you gonna always still owe somebody some money. If you go get in an adult living facility, you owe them money to be there. You can't just be there just because you owe. If that was the thing, all old people would be in nursing homes and adult living care facilities. No, make it start thinking about the little crumbs of money that you make now in your upper years, in your gray years, and start thinking, I need to invest this money because I'm not going to always be able to go to work. And listen, and here's the worst part, you are not going to be able to compete with the youth because the youth will run circles around you on a job. And oh, let's forget about that part. You're not going to be able to compete with AI and robots. You can't work faster and you can't think faster than AI and robots. So you need to start making your plans of escape right now. If you can't work, you won't eat. If you go out and spend all this money on a house that you ain't paid off, it all it takes for you is to get sick. If you stay sick long enough, your ass gonna be getting pink slips on your door. And they gonna want you out. Period. With the taxes that I pay on this land, I could find that shit in a damn wishing fountain in the middle of the mall. I had to come on here and say this because I felt that this message, this was not just a discussion between me and somebody else. This was a message that some of us need to hear. And some of us, that motherfucker flying my drink. And some of us need to tell our children because your kids keep looking at TV and thinking you supposed to be balling out and stunting all the time and and making money phones when we really should be investing this money into your future. I know it's hard to think about you being old and gray. In fact, when you only 25 years old. But we need to start preparing our children to think that way. Mug, you gonna get old. And I know we hear it all the time. Oh, you gonna get old. You no no no. Tell these suckers, hey, this what you need to be investing in. This what you need to be spending your money on. Take some of that money and put it to the side. See, some of us OGs did make our children. Put that money to the side. You work at Pizza Hut, take half your pay and go put it over there. I give you your money when you move out. That's what we did. Whatever job my kids, whatever they had, half of that money that they earn, if they earn a little $200 on their paycheck, give me $100. You take the $100 that you earn, you could do whatever you want with it, whatever you want to do. But guess what? When they all left home, me and my wife had all that money that they had earned through high school, and we was able to give them their money back so they can get a good head start on reality. They didn't like it. Why I gotta give you all my money? I earned this money. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know shit. I'm your daddy and I know what you need. Don't tell me what you think you need. Give me that $100. I'm not gonna go with them and say, okay, you can get a credit card in your name and here's your bank account. No, you don't own nothing. Because you're gonna freak your money off. You gonna get with the right little girl, or you gonna get with the right little boy, and you're gonna be wanting to buy them gifts, and they might swindle you and talk sweet to you, and you give them all your money. Nah. Give mom and daddy that money. What y'all gonna do with that? Ain't none of your damn business. You paying rent, whatever. You living for free. You ain't bought nan damn bag of food, grocery. So when it came time for them to leave the house, me and my wife could give them a nice big bag of money that we told this is your money. All them times that you was giving us money out of your check, this was yours. We don't need your damn little $2. Now you can pay me back for all them damn diapers we put on you and that Similac, but nah. This is the money you earned that I know you was gonna freak off, but now you learn how to live with only half of the money that you earn. So that showed character. Right. It showed to live below your means. And now you got a head start to go get your first apartment. You ain't got to hustle to try to come up with more money. We got you. It ain't about how much money you make all the time, man. It ain't about the dollars all the time. It's about the sense that you have. What kind of sense are you working with? Do you have the right mind enough to get in here and say, listen, I can't just be out here buying all name brand purses and Coach and Louis Vuitton, and I can't be in here like that. Can't be clowning like that. What I need to be doing is trying to figure out, how can I live for free? If we all prepared for that, if if our children were taught from Jump Street, start working on a way to live for free. And I'm not talking about living under no underpass or living on no bus stop. I'm talking about we all need to be teaching our children. That should be a universal lesson. Start working on how will you be able to live for free and not owe a single person anything. What kind of solutions can you come up with where you could be living for free? because nobody talks about that. So it's not a situation that we sit around the dinner table and talk about. So nobody cares about it. But if we sit around and say, what ideas can we come up with that you could live for free without owing the public utilities? You can get out of paying all these government dumb things. You can get out of paying a house note, paying the bank. What can we come up with? And it's so many different solutions. And it don't take that much money. It just takes brainstorming. So he hit me with the bullshit talking about some, everybody ain't got it like you, big dog. Everybody ain't got it like you. Everybody just can't go out there and run and buy some land. Fucker, you act like I just had $40 million sitting in my lap and I ain't know what to do with it. You sitting here acting like I'm just buying this land for fun because of something cute to talk about. I make less money than you, but I had to tell him I make less money than you, and I made it so I could quit my job, so I don't have to keep on doing all that stupid stuff and stressing myself out to be working for free. You basically be working for free. Cause you after the dollar, you chasing the dollar, you trying to make more money just so you can spend more money. You make more money than me and you broke as hell. But you can change it. If you're ready, you older than me and you broker than me, but you make more money than me. If you're ready to step into reality, which is stop spending everything you earn and then start putting some away or start investing it, then you can make a damn move and stop worrying about stunting so much. You so worried about what everybody think about you. You gotta have the flyest clothes. You gotta have the flyest shoes. You gotta have a fat chain, diamonds, rings, and all this bullshit. You gotta go to the barber shop every single week, 2 times a week, to have them dye your beard and pretend you 20 years old. You're a fool. You're an old fool. Once we can accept that we getting old, maybe it'll shock through to you that we need to be preparing for that too. Everybody want to stun on each other. Everybody want to show another broke sucker what you got that they don't got. And guess what? Newsflash, they don't care. They don't care, man. You think because you driving the flyest car that you going to get more girls than a broke dude. Man, these girls these days don't even care. They don't care. I done seen some young cats, man, uh walking and catching the bus and catching the Uber, and they pull more fly chicks than a grown man sitting in a Lexus or a Mercedes. Girls don't care like that no more. Where they worried about, and let's really talk about it. Man, half these folks you see be stanking. They be dirty. They be musty. They mouth stank. But they be pulling the baddest chicks in the doggone industry. Why? Because they don't care. They don't care about your car. They just want to have somebody there that they can talk to. They just want to have somebody there. When they get home, is you home waiting on them. They want to have somebody to cook dinner for or have somebody cook dinner for them. They don't give a shit about your car. Your car can be gone in a one car crash. Your car can be gone if it gets stolen. That's how you see old busted up cats, man, with these bad chicks, man. Look at me. Look at me, old busted up old man. I got this baddie with me. She don't care if I drive old beat up old Chevy Tahoe. She don't care if I wear flip flops and Crocs. She just want to know, am I gonna be there when she get home? Is she gotta keep calling and looking for me? Do she gotta put Apple tracers up under my car wheel wells and shit, trying to figure out if I'm at the club or am I cheating? You know? Do you got a damn low jack tracker on my car? That's what the shit, man. Need all that bullshit, man. So to me and to everybody else, this is my true word. It ain't about the dollars, man. It's about the cents. Period. And I ain't talking about coins. I'm talking about up here. I did not accomplish this because I've been saving money for 30 years. I didn't accomplish the things I've accomplished because I've been saving money for 30 years, because I haven't. I ain't no different than nobody else. I've been tricking off my money too, trying to stunt. And if you don't wake up and realize how stupid that is, that's exactly what it's going to be. You're going to be an old, stupid old fool. Poor, broken, lonely. This mug this is a true story, had a Toyota Camry, paid for, paid off. He in a Toyota Camry. Nice, clean car, inside and out. Not a dent on it, not a scratch on it. Call me up. What's up, bruh? Hey, guess what I just did? What? I bought a new RAV4. You did what? You bought a Toyota RAV4 for what? Oh, I'm thinking he bought another car. No, he s- traded in his paid off Toyota Camry and bought a Toyota 2026 RAV4. Y'all all probably thinking, well, lad, that ain't too bad. I mean, he got some good money for the Camry and maybe he needed to upgrade. No. Why you renting? You were renting a house. On top of that, you work seasonal. You don't even got no full-time job. You work seasonally. You thinking you gonna get your pension or whatever else, and they giving you a damn nickel on a dollar for your retirement, your pension. You a old stupid fool. So now you got your girl paying your car note. But you saying, I got $2,000 in my pocket. That's how I'm living. You got $2,000 in your pocket, sucker, because your girl really handling the real business. You pimping out your chick because she out there handling the real business. You ain't got no money if you was a real dude. If you was a real dude, you wouldn't let your girl be out here doing stuff like that. Working all day while you sit on your ass twiddling your thumbs. Don't try to stun on me and act like you got $2,000 cash in your pocket and you could do what you want. You got $2,000 in your pocket because your girl is working, your girl is paying the rent, your girl is paying the car note, your girl is paying the utilities, and she on low income. You ain't no real cat, man. You ain't no real one. Don't try to come at me with that bullshit. Like you got $2,000 in your pocket because your girl paying everything. That's why. Man, people, let me tell you something. We are gonna be our own demise because we will not get right in the head. We got this mentality that we always want to show off. We always want to be better than. We always want to make people feel belittled. No matter what it takes. We'll do anything. We'll sell our souls just to trick people into thinking we're rich. It's a sad state of affairs, man. Here I am in the middle of the night. He told me he spent, I don't even know how much a 2026 Toyota 4Runner, not a 4Runner, RAV4 cost. And I'm proud because I was able to scratch up $200 and buy me $2,000 worth of solar panel. 2,000 watts of solar panels, so I could live for free. So my $200 got my lights on in my cabin. That's my little $200 investment. My little $200 investment making it so I got free utilities. My $200 for solar panels cost less than everybody watching me's electric bill this month. Your electric bill gonna be about 200 or more. So with that $200, instead of me paying the electric company, I invest into my own solar panels and my own batteries. That one-time investment, which will be your one-time bill, I ain't gotta pay for that no more. And we don't think like that. We so worried about the conveniences that they got us doing. You don't even realize your convenience is the shackle around your doggone neck. You don't even realize it. Every convenience we got is like a shackle around your freaking neck. Yes, it's easy to hit a button and stuff happen, but it also comes at a price. And some of it is your soul because you're doing stuff that you don't want to do. If you got to go to work in the morning and you don't want to go to work in the morning, that's kind of like selling your soul. And I'm not talking about if you don't work, you don't eat. That ain't what I'm saying. Because let me get something else straightened out because somebody else hit me with that a little while ago. And I'm going to straighten that out, which was this. In the Bible, God say a man that don't work don't eat, right? Right? Am I right? So somebody told me I don't work, right? In the Bible, it didn't say what you need to be doing to work. And we can define the word work. I don't need to be working for another man because in the same Bible, it also says don't put yourself in debt because you become a slave to the debtor, right? Think. It says don't put yourself in debt because that way you end up becoming a slave to the debt. Okay. So if you're going to work every day, you owe somebody something. You owe them work for their money every day. So in a sense, you are in debt. You're indebted to your career, your job, or whatever else it is. So for me, I work on staying sustainable for my family. I work every day. I work hard every day. There's no reason why I should be coming in sweating, stanking, and everything else. But I'll try to work on this land and work on my sustainability and work on my health and work on all this other stuff every single day. I put in work. I put in more than 8 hours worth of work. The only difference between me and a lot of people, I'm not putting in my work for some corporation. I'm not putting in my work for some company. I'm not putting in my work for some CEO. I'm putting in work for myself. So God didn't say you need to be going to work for somebody else to make a way. No, that's not true. Mean you need to get up and be productive. When you start talking about work, work is being productive. It don't mean you got to go enslave yourself to a CEO or a corporation. That don't mean you're at work. That means you have enslaved yourself. And we play with words so much that we don't even be knowing what we talking about half the time. It's be spewing all that garbage. So to me, again, and I'm gonna say it for the last time, it don't matter how much money you make. It matters what you do with the little money you get. How many people have ever seen? How many people have ever seen? It's people around you ain't working as hard as you, but they're accomplishing more. I can even say here on YouTube alone, it's plenty of content creators do not work as hard as other content creators do. But it seems like they always winning because you're too worried about making the money and not trying to produce anything where to produce some kind of longevity for yourself. And that's the thing. It's about longevity. It's the long game. It's the rabbit in the hare. Everybody trying to rush to get the most money, and it's not that. You missing the whole point. So I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. I had to get that off my chest because boy, that mug got me hot, man. I cussed him out. I called him a handful of MFers and a fistful of B's for about 30 minutes straight till I couldn't take it no more. I said, man, you ain't about to sit here and tell me I got a silver spoon in my mouth, sucker. You just a trick. You the one sitting here trying to sell your soul to prove to people with your old ass that you got it going on, and you ain't shit. You a trick. You ain't got no money. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing in your name. You ain't got nothing. But you trying to come across to people like you doing something. You ain't doing nothing. Care how much money you make on your job. You ain't got nothing. You ain't did nothing. All you can say is I make this much money, but you ain't did nothing with it but trick it off. Stunting and all that garbage. That's all I got. And excuse me for all my language and everything else. But I had to, man, that mug got me hot, man. Right? So with that being said, let me go and get off of here. I didn't mean to be on this long. I just, man, that mug got me hot, man, because that's the mentality that our people carry all the time. That somebody is better than them because they got a silver spoon in their mouth. It ain't. It's because somebody is smart with their money and somebody is dumb with theirs. And then we look down on them people because they winning. We sick, man. We sick in the head, man. That's garbage, man. Oh, you was able because you was favored and you got the come ups and people like you. That ain't it. It's because you don't trick your money off. Just because you made 50,000 don't mean you spend 50,000. And most people in these days, if you make 50,000, most people spend 75,000. You made 50, but you spend 75,000, put yourself 25,000 in debt. And that's the way we think. And we think that it's nothing wrong with that. We think that's okay. And that's some garbage, man. If you make 50,000, you at least need to hang on to half of it or some of it. And God forbid if you have children and you have responsibilities, you paying utilities, you paying a mortgage, you paying for children, you paying for children's school and education. That's the other thing I had to tell that sucker. You know, you ain't had to pay child support like most people had, most men out here had to pay, sucker. You was lucky enough where you had a chick and she was so bamboozled that she didn't sink your ass up under the prison because you ain't never paid a day of child support in your life, knowing good and well you was the poster child for need to have paid some damn child support. So don't give me that bullshit. You got $2,000 in your pocket and you make it do what it do. Well, that's because you ain't had to pay child support like most men do. You don't have responsibilities because you got two. I'm not gonna get on this girls because I ain't gonna do that. But you got two women. You done had several women in your life that wasn't thinking straight. Is what I'm gonna say. You left them and you jived them around, and they wasn't thinking straight enough to make your ass pay for what you owe. You left them with some kids You left them with some kids that you ain't never had no responsibility. Man, taking that kid to the park ain't no damn responsibility. Once a year on their birthday, that ain't no damn responsible mug, man. Miss me with that bullshit, man. You wasn't no father mug. You was the nanny. You was like the babysitter. You wasn't no father. You ain't get it in like me, mug. My kids wake up and they know where they daddy at. They wake up and come in their daddy room and tell them they had a nightmare. You ain't never had to deal with that. My kids could wake up in the middle of the night, they done peed the bed, and they could come in there and say, Dad, I need some help. I peed in the bed. They couldn't do that with you. So don't tell me you was no father. I paid money and took care of my kids right there in their face. They didn't have to see me one time a year. So that's where my money went, sucker. You know what I mean? So don't keep on hitting me with the you a real one and you keep bread in your pocket. That's cause you ain't did shit. You ain't did shit what a man's supposed to do. That's why you got money in your pocket. You ain't bought nan one of your kids no vehicle when they got old enough to drive. I done bought all three of mine vehicles and gave one of my nieces and nephews a car. So miss me with the oh my god, I ain't gonna talk about Princess Leia and gave her 3 or 4 cars. So miss me with that. You a real one. You ain't shit. I had to let that steam off, man, because I'm telling you, man, we so bamboozled that we think we real ones and we think we out here doing stuff and we really ain't. All it is this: you done convinced yourself that you're doing something productive. And only people that's agreeing with you is other dumb suckers. Cause when you come to a man like me, I'm not gonna let you get away with that bullshit talking about some you this, you that. I'm about to, not after I done put in my work. You think you was talking to your other buddy. You ain't talking to them. You talking to me. And you can't trick me. Cause I know you ain't shit. You my friend, but you ain't shit. That's why I hold you at arm's length. I love you, but I can't stand your ass half the time. You know what I mean? And I told him that too. I love you, but boy, you makes me sick, bro. And I can't stand when you drunk. I can't stand talking to a drunk mug, man. I said, man, don't call me drinking no more. Don't call me after you done had a drink. I can't stand your goofy ass after you been drinking. I can't stand it. You can't hold your liquor. Go to popping off at the mouth talking stupid and get my dander up, boy. You lucky I ain't there, man. I be done broke your jaw. Talking stupid. And he know I ain't bullshit. Let me stop. I done went too far. I was talking about bring y'all kids in here. Don't let y'all kids tell me don't let them hear I done be breaking people's jaws and stuff, or at least trying. And these days, I ain't about to be fighting nobody. I'll make your guts whistle before I'll make your guts whistle before I put up my dukes with a dumb drunk mug. Make you have to doo doo in a bag on your stomach. Colostomy. I'm not gonna fight no drunk dumb mug. You'll be doo dooing in a bag for the rest of your days. Come up here messing with me. That bullshit. You know how you gonna take a dump? You gonna go in the bathroom and empty it out, lift your shirt, empty your doo doo out that sack. You would never have to sit down again fumbling around with me. Shit. Let me stop, cause I don't went too far. Everybody have a wonderful night. But remember what I said. It's not about the dollars, man. It's about the cents. It's about what you do with the money that you make. You ain't gotta make $1 million to make a move. You and everybody like, I can't wait till I make me about 100,000. I'm gonna buy me some land. You don't need to make $100,000 to buy no land. You don't need to be working on no job for 50 years just so you can buy no land. It's not about that. It's about what you do with the money you got. Stop buying purses and bags and shoes and cars and stupid shit that could be taken away from you if the police pull your ass over. You got a busted tail light, they take your car and tow your car, you'll never see it again. Let me get out of here. Everybody, enjoy your night, cause I am. Live Farmer 73. I love you. Stay safe. Stay sane. And I'm out. Peace.